Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Emotional Intelligence Pawdcast. I'm your host, Sandra Thompson, founder of EI Evolution, and I am super excited to take you on this incredible journey. We're going to be exploring the transformative world of emotional intelligence and empathy, guided by some truly remarkable humans and their fantastic four-legged friends. In each episode, we'll dive into inspiring and heartwarming stories about our beloved canine companions. We'll discover the unique and magical bonds we share with our dogs and uncover the profound lessons they teach us about understanding and managing our emotions. From tales of loyalty and love to moments of learning and growth, our furry friends have so much to offer when it comes to enhancing our emotional intelligence. We'll also discuss practical tips and insights on how to cultivate empathy and emotional awareness in our daily lives, inspired by the natural wisdom of our dogs. So sit back and relax, maybe even with your playful pup by your side, and join us for an enriching experience that celebrates the incredible ways dogs help us connect more deeply with ourselves and others. Welcome to the Emotional Intelligence Pawdcast. You're in for a real treat, folks. I'm going to be introducing in just a second a gentleman called Mike, who I met a few years ago. He's from all the way from the other side of the pond if you're in the UK or in Europe. But if you're in the States, he's stateside. He's out in New York City. And Mike and I met through the Applied Customer Experience and Emotional Intelligence course. He was one of those star pupils who asks all the questions, wants to know more, wants to be a bit provocative, wants to be a bit challenging, and we all learn from him. So let's bring him in. Mike, how are you?
Sandra, I am doing well. Thank you for that intro. That was probably the best intro I've ever gotten, ever. And
I don't believe a word of it. It's incredible to see you here today. So thank you so much. I know that we've got tons to get through, all about your canine companions, but let's start off with a bit of an introduction to you, who you are, what you do, anything that you think the audience wants to know.
Yeah, so my name is Mike. Obviously, I'm a huge Sandra fan for the world. And let me tell you, for anyone who has not been able to learn from Sandra, you are missing out. Okay? No, Sandra has not paid me for this review. But Sandra is just so amazing. If you ever get the chance to hear her speak, or if you can learn from her, take it. Don't hesitate. It's amazing. She's wonderful. That's what I think the audience wants to know.
Now, I've got to interject there because those of you that are watching this on video will see how red I've gone. For those of you only listening on the audio, I've gone very bright red. So thank you, Mike. Let's move on to you now, shall we?
I thought I could stay away for a little bit longer. No, you're great. So I've been in the customer experience field for about 12 years now. That's how I met Sandra taking a certification course. That was absolutely incredible. My history is in customer service. That's just the type of person that I am. I like to help people. It's my own personal credo. And I've been doing it ever since I've been able to professionally, really. I just got my master's degree in CX from MSU. Woo! Started a little consultancy here with one of my classmates. Yeah. And I am just enjoying everything that I can. I'm a hobby woodworker. I like to make things with my hands. I like to ride a motorcycle, which is a lot of fun. And I live in the woods of New Jersey, in just kind of tucked away on the Sunrise Mountain. Isn't that a fun name?
Do you know, and there's me saying to everyone, you're in New York City, but that's my error. So I beg your pardon on that one. I have this visualization of New York and I just can't think any further. I suppose it's a bit like people who come to England think everything is in London. So I do apologize for that.
That makes beautiful. A lot of sense. It's great. We're just tucked in the woods, just surrounded by all the trees and the woodland critters. It's fantastic. We have a little family of, I can't say little family of turkeys. It's like 30 turkeys that just traipse around the property every morning. Wow. And every evening. A family of deer. Smokey the Bear is around here somewhere. He comes by every now and again and scares everybody.
Right.
It's a treat. It's a real treat.
So, what happens? I don't know if I'm allowed to say this. What happens then when the turkeys are walking along and the bear pops out? Does everyone give each other enough warning that they're going to be in the neighborhood, or what happens?
I've never seen the bear out with the turkeys, but I have seen the animals give each other like distress calls.
Okay.
So that's something I've actually noticed. So when the deer, for example, I'll see them turn their heads, and then all of a sudden they'll let out like a bleat, and then just everyone runs away. I've
Oh,
seen it
right.
happen with squirrels, other birds as well. There's some really interesting stuff that you see when you just stop and you
Yeah.
don't do anything, wait
Yeah.
for 5 minutes, and then the woodland critters start going again. It's
Yeah.
really fascinating, actually.
Well,
Sorry, the inner naturist is coming out.
Well, no, indeed. And I think the point that you've just made is probably one of our first points for emotional intelligence. I'm going to get right in there because ultimately we we're busy, we're distracted, we're constantly on, we're moving to the next thing. And when you're quite right, when you stop, you do observe more. And when you just take a bit of time to really tune in to what you're feeling, what you're thinking, things do become more connected. And what I mean by that is when you take a moment to realize what you're feeling, then you can make sense of the reason why your behavior has been in such a way. So that was a cheeky little introduction there to emotional intelligence, Mike. Nice one.
I try my best to give the segues when I can.
Fantastic. So let's move on to the incredible four-legged friends that you have in your house. Slightly different story here than the ones that we've heard so far, but I'm going to let you tell the story on the introduction of the two amazing dogs in your house.
Absolutely. And we'll start off with one of my two little princesses, Millie. She's a German Shepherd. She's just about 10 right now. And well, we rescued her. So she's a rescue, and she came in. It only took her 3 days to really come out of her shell.
Wow.
She was in the shelter for a while because she was very reactive with other dogs.
Right.
And for us, we said, well, we have the perfect place for her because we don't have any other dogs, and she's perfect, and we love her.
Yeah.
We took her in, and she is such an amazing dog. I love both of our dogs
Yeah.
to the end of the world and back.
Hmm.
But she really is something special. She is so in tune with people in a way that I feel my other dogs, because I've grown up with German Shepherds my whole life,
Hmm.
haven't been. She is able to really hone in on what you're feeling, and she watches you very, very carefully. She's able to see everything that's going on, and she reacts very well. I think it took us a little bit really to stop and listen and watch and
Mm.
really get in tune with her emotions. But once
Okay.
we did, it really just opened up these possibilities that both my wife and I were really surprised to see with her.
Mm.
We thought going into being with her that this was going to be a lot of reaction from when we first met her, but
Yeah.
it really turned out to be the exact opposite. It's just so fascinating.
So you've said then that you've had German Shepherds before. Was that one of the reasons why you picked her from the shelter? Tell us the story about how you came home with her.
That was 100% the reason why we chose Millie.
Okay.
My wife and I were looking to adopt for a little while, and we had gone on a couple of interviews in order to make sure that we were fit parents and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But none of the dogs that we met, like really, there's no real way to explain that besides to say that we really didn't click with
Yeah.
any of the other dogs.
Hmm.
Came across Millie on the website of this organization, and I said, "This is the dog that my wife is going to fall in love with." My
Oh,
wife has wanted a dog since she was a kid,
yeah.
and she was never able to have one.
Okay.
So this was going to be a really great opportunity for her, but also for me, as I was away from my parents. We were living on our own. We were going to have our own little puppy that we get to care for.
Yeah.
We went to the rescue, and my wife locked eyes with Millie, and that was the end of it. I said,
Yeah.
"We're going to be coming home with this dog," but that wasn't the end. When we were at the shelter, we had the opportunity to see her react to another dog.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked them if I could hold her while this was happening. Because, I mean, if we're going to come home with her, I need to know what it is that we're dealing with.
Yeah.
I mean, she came right over to me and sat down next to me. And that's where she was barking.
Right.
And I said, okay, this is interesting. This isn't how you portrayed it, people.
Okay.
This is
Right.
way better.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then after that, we just sat down on this bench. It was the middle of the summer, and it was really hot. So we wanted to give Millie some water and such. And she just laid down on my feet. And it was at that point that my wife said, "We're coming home with her, right?" Like, yep, sure are.
I hear that quite a bit. I do. I hear stories where dogs choose their owners, and I was a bit skeptical about it before I started this podcast. But the more stories I hear, the more convinced I am. You know, they seem comfortable, they seem connected, they just seem like it's no effort when you know it's the right dog. So tell me a little bit then about the reactiveness. Was she reacting to certain sizes of dogs, or their aggression, or what?
So that's what I find so interesting when people use the word reactive, because it could
Okay,
mean so many different things. With Millie, we found that Millie was not socialized with other dogs.
right.
So Millie doesn't really know how to act, you know?
Mm,
To put it in human terms, like she doesn't have manners.
okay.
You know, it would be like running up to somebody and screaming in their face, "Hi, I'm here. What's your name? Who are you? What are you doing? My name's Millie." That's what the human equivalent of what she does. Whenever she sees another dog, um, she doesn't get aggressive. She's not growling or baring her teeth or being mean in any way. Um, she's just yipping at them, letting them
Mhm.
know, "Hi, I'm here."
Yeah.
And that's I've come to learn the difference between her different types of barks, because she has a particular aggressive bark that's very deep throated and guttural, and this more playful bark when she just wants to let you know that she's there and she wants to say hi and play.
Yeah.
That's very high pitch and
Right.
excited.
Yeah. So just coming back to what you originally were saying, that whole not knowing how to behave and the behavior of Millie as a consequence of not knowing the boundaries or not knowing how to receive other dogs, there's definitely something, isn't there, in the training of and the reassurance, actually, the reassurance of the owner to the dog when certain things happen. And if she hasn't had that, but she's obviously been having that with you. If she hasn't had that, then of course it's the amygdala hijack, isn't it? It's the fight, flight, or freeze, and that's what she's naturally doing because she hasn't been taught that it's going to be okay, and that dog that's doing that thing doesn't really mean it, or whatever it might be. So there's again that whole parallel with humans and how we look, don't we? Often when we're much younger, to our the elders or our parents or our aunties or uncles or whatever for it, like, is this okay? Someone shouting in my face? Not really. Or is it okay for me to do it?
Absolutely. I can see that parallel very clearly with Millie, and even with Lucy as well. I find that what you're saying is 100% right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
And poor Mills, she gets hijacked pretty easy when there are other critters around.
Now you've just slipped Lucy in there. Let's have an introduction of who Lucy is, because she's not a German Shepherd, is she? She's a different breed.
Yeah, Lucy technically is a Belgian Malinois German Shepherd mix,
Right.
but she is all Malinois when it comes to the way she acts and the way she looks. The only German Shepherd that you can see in Lucy is in her eyes. She's got these big, beautiful golden eyes that are so expressive.
Yeah.
The way how we say the eyes are the window into your soul for humans, that is Lucy 100%.
Yeah.
You see, Lucy speaks with her eyes. It's
Wow.
amazing. And we've had Lucy. We got her from somebody who had bred his two dogs, and one of them was aging, so he wanted to have them bred so that way he can have one of their children with him
Okay.
and like
Yeah.
keep with the family. I thought it was really really cute.
Yeah.
And so we got Lucy when she was a couple of months old. I don't
Right.
think she was 6 months old, maybe 3 4 months.
Yeah.
She's just a little baby thing, and she's
Oh.
so adorable. Ah, Lucy is pro puppy dog eyes all the time.
So I don't know that breed. So for those that have that breed, you're going to know exactly what Mike's talking about. But for those
I
of
can
you that
explain
don't
a
know
little.
what a Malinois is, could you give us a bit of a, what's their track record? What are they? What's their role? What's their job? Because often these types of dogs have a particular job, right?
Yeah, Belgian Malinois are a similar do a similar job as German Shepherds. They're working
Right.
dogs as well. They're
Hmm.
not shepherding dogs though, um,
Okay.
unlike the German Shepherd.
Right.
However, they're used in a very similar fashion
Okay.
in their typical work role, which is usually with the police or the military.
Um,
They are like the go-to breed when it comes to protection for people. They're very, very highly trainable. Um, the thing is that they're also very, very high energy. I've one person described the Malinois breed as, I think they said a tornado with teeth, because
a
they are
tornado
so
with teeth.
energetic. Yeah,
And people have
but
these as their pets. What?
yeah, I'll explain the teeth part. The teeth part isn't as bad as you think. I promise.
Okay,
Um,
of course. But
they No, the Malinois, while being very highly energetic, they smile a lot, and all the time they just kind of show their teeth
okay, is
when
that
they're
smiling
happy.
or is that preparing to use their teeth?
Nope, totally when they're happy and smiling.
Oh, okay.
Like
Wow.
I when I say smiling, it's all the time. Lucy is happy as a clam, and when
Wow.
she is, she that's the face she makes
So,
all the time.
so for those of you that are only listening to the audio, not watching the video, Mike was
Yes,
just moving his hands in front of him and smiling in a kind of, I don't know, what was that? That was a kind of, I'm happy as a clam.
it's hard to describe, listeners. Just picture a dog just baring their teeth in a non-aggressive way when they're on their back.
Oh, I see. Right, right, right. That was why you had your hands doing that. So that's their legs up in the air,
Yes,
just being all delighted and kind of frantic with it. Got it. Thank you.
yeah,
That helped me no end.
yeah. It's the Malinois, and my wife is part of a Belgian Malinois group. Like she's always going and checking like forums, and she'll go on like Facebook
Oh,
groups and
right.
stuff. And
Okay.
all the Malinois do it. All of
Wow.
them are they're very toothy. They just
Okay.
they smile, they bare their teeth, their mouths are always open. It's just what the breed does, and it's
Wow.
not aggressive in any way, shape, or form.
Okay.
One of the things that Lucy does when she's really excited and she wants to play, uh, and I'm getting used to the audio format, Sandra, so I won't leave you to do this. So listeners, I have a beard, a longer beard, and Lucy likes to try and she'll she'll chomp her teeth, and you can hear it. You'll actually hear her click as she chomps her teeth. You got. I don't know if anyone can hear that.
You can hear that. I
But
can hear that.
it's
On your
another thing that
beard?
Malinois do. And yeah,
On
she
your
likes to
beard?
chomp my beard. Yeah.
Okay, brilliant.
Yeah, she gets super happy. She'll start to lick my face, and then she'll chomp and she'll just chomp closer and closer until she gets my beard. She
Okay.
loves it.
Wow. So tell the listeners now a bit about how these two coexist, how they share the space with you.
Yeah, indeed. Millie is an absolute love bug, and so's Lucy. They're very loving with us, with my wife and I.
Okay.
But they don't really get along that well. I've come to find out that Belgian Malinois females are apparently the most territorial of the dog breeds and genders.
Mm-hmm.
So she doesn't like it so much that there's another female dog in her space, like in her home.
Yeah.
So we had gotten Lucy in order to keep Millie company, because I've come to understand Millie enough that she wants to be with somebody, but she has to be close and comfortable with them in order for that to be the case when it comes with another animal.
Yeah.
So we'd gotten Lucy for Millie to keep Millie company, but Lucy just did not take kindly to Mills. We had gotten them together. We had to start them off separate because Millie was so reactive that it scared Lucy when she was a puppy. And eventually we got them together, and they were playing when because we kind of like divided the house in half, but we let them see each other so that way they can play, they can talk, they can smell, they can see.
Yeah.
And it was going really, really nicely. And we had trainers help us integrate them, and like life was peachy.
Yeah.
But over time, Lucy became just less and less tolerant. And we said, you know what, this isn't going to be something that we want. We don't want anything bad to happen to them.
No.
So we just said we're going to keep the house separate, because there were just a couple of instances that made my wife and I say, this we don't see this going okay. We're gonna stop something before it happens.
Yeah.
So we kind of divided the house, and we have them totally separate from one another, which I feel bad for Millie, because Millie wants to be with her so desperately.
Yeah.
And you can see it in her face. She gives this look. Oh, there's my sister's over there.
Yeah.
Can I go over there, Dad? Can I, please?
Yeah.
And then I see Lucy giving the stink eye. Like, this dog she's not coming over here, right? This is my space.
Right.
But
sorry,
go
go
ahead.
on.
No, it's okay.
What triggered Lucy to change? Do you think it was going from being a puppy to an adult? Was that the window of time?
That's what I think is the case. Yeah.
Right.
It happened, as she was aging. She just became less and less. You could see that when she was younger, she was having fun with Millie.
Right.
She was playing with her. She kind of run back and forth with Millie, with the gate there.
Yeah.
And they were just enjoying themselves. Then they got together, and she was okay. And then you can just see, because like I said, Lucy is very expressive. Very, very expressive. She actually vocalizes a lot, which, like, my wife and I, we're not the types of people that we're not going to train dogs not to bark. I think I've always found that kind of silly. And we just kind of let Lucy and Millie be their goofy selves. And with that, Lucy is very expressive with being vocal, with her body, with her mouth, with her eyes, all of it. And you can just see over time, instead of getting joy, she started to just tolerate.
Right.
And she would sit there and she would just watch.
Yeah.
As Millie would do, and she would just sit back and she would just watch. It's one of Lucy's things. Very incredibly observant.
Yeah.
And she watches.
Yeah.
She's so smart, Sandra. Probably the smartest dog that I've ever encountered. She's
Sure.
so hyper intelligent, and
Mm.
she takes everything in.
Right.
She thinks about it for a second. There's only one real instance where she reacts instantly, and that's when someone walks up to the door. Then she gets hijacked instantly.
Yeah.
But all the
Yeah.
other times she's taking in, she's thinking, she's absorbing. And it was after we saw that for a while, and we said, I just got that gut feeling,
Mm.
not going to go well.
Yeah.
And we said, you know what, this isn't going to be okay. My wife got to the point where she was afraid that something was going to happen with them. And I said, you know what, let's just put a barrier up here. The house is set up where we can close one door, and they have two entire sides of the house to themselves.
Yeah, great.
And we make sure that where each of us are with them all the time. So like I'm on this side of the house with Millie, my wife is on the other side of the house with Lucy. So we always have company, and we switch off.
Yeah.
We take them out on respective sides, so that way they have like their own little areas and stuff like that.
Sure.
Really made it so that way they can still coexist while being separate.
So does
If
that
that makes
mean
sense.
that you take them? Does that mean you take them for walks separately, and you do activities with them separately, or do you walk them?
Yep.
Do you walk them together or not?
We walk them separately. Interestingly, Lucy can and will walk with Millie.
Okay.
So while she gets upset with Millie in the house,
Yeah.
when she's outside in the wild,
Mm.
she's fine.
Wow.
She's fine. And we chalk that up to her territorial nature, because the house is like home base. That's her place.
Okay. Yeah.
Whereas outside, she's okay with everything.
Sure. Well, there's enough
She's
smells to be distracting, right? And all the animals and whatnot.
very true. Very true. But we still keep them. It's just easier for us to bring them in and out of the same door each time. The consistency is very helpful. I found when it comes to anything I'm trying to do with Lucy, when it comes to like training and education, she needs that consistency as a Malinois. Otherwise, you start to give her that inch, and then they take the foot.
Yeah. 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 I think in previous conversations, I think we've talked about having treats perhaps from your wife, and maybe pushing it a little bit far. Want to explore
Yeah.
that one?
Yeah. Lucy with those abs, I mean, professional expert level puppy dog eyes,
Okay.
is able to manipulate everybody with them. And she gives Caroline the look, and then she melts. And
Oh,
I'm the same way. I'm a huge softie. Like, she gives me that look, and I just have to go over there and like give her kisses and rubs. I just can't help it, man. She gives me that look. And then, if Caroline is eating something, Lucy will give her that look. Mom,
yeah.
can I eat something,
So let's go
please?
now
And
to
that's it.
emotional intelligence and empathy. And we talked a little bit at the beginning of this session around how being present, being quiet for a bit, you can observe more. What other things do you think that either of your two dogs give you the sign that there are so many things for us to learn from canines as to how we should be living our lives, which taps into EQ? What have you got?
Where how much time do we have?
We've got approximately 4.5 minutes.
Oh, fantastic. That's impossible for me to answer. When it comes to the dogs, I find it really, really fascinating, because the dogs, I think, really give us a window into a type of communication, an emotional communication that we can have not only with animals, but other people, that really isn't with the spoken word. I find it really fascinating that just by being in a specific mood, or having a specific look, that you can really catch that and understand what's going on with somebody without having to ask. I
Mm,
see that all the time, and I've learned that very, very well with dogs. I
yeah.
don't have to tell them that I'm in a mood, but I can look at them when I'm in that mood and they're able to understand where
Yeah.
I am
Yeah.
just by being present, just by watching and being willing to, I don't really like to use these words, but I feel like this is the best descriptor, but willing to kind of accept that energy
Yeah.
that you are exuding, you know. And when it comes to them as well, if you sit and you watch them, you can do that same thing. It's not a one-way street.
Mm.
With both Millie and Lucy, when I watch them, I can understand what they're feeling, and I can get a pretty good idea of the mood that they're in.
Yeah.
I don't have to, you know, call their name
Mm.
or gesture in a specific way. When you just sit and watch
Mm.
and you're open to it, they're going to tell you everything that you need to know.
Yeah, that's
And I
right.
find that to be very parallel with people.
No, for sure. And I talk a lot about being able to read the room, to be able to see how people in meetings are responding to the information that is being shared, and inviting people to perhaps share in words what they're feeling, because you've just seen them slump in the chair, or you've seen them sit up and pay attention, or give out a great big sigh, or give a particular micro expression, which is a really quick one before our conscious state comes in and realizes we shouldn't really be looking like that. It's that sort of thing. And if only we did properly focus on, if only we really did spend a bit of time just tuning in to all of the other signals rather than just the words, because we're doing it anyway. We're just not consciously registering, right? So I think that's what you're talking about, isn't it?
100%. Yes,
Yeah, yeah. So,
absolutely. I think we've come to rely on the spoken word.
mm,
And we've lost a lot. I can't say we've lost it. I feel like a lot of people don't really because we're so reliant on the spoken word.
mm,
Um, you know, we kind of ignore a lot of those other subtleties
yeah.
that can give you a true indicator of what someone is thinking and feeling.
Thank you. I 100% I agree with you. So just to kind of close up, what do dogs bring to your home and wider society?
A joy that really can't be that can't be put into words. There is this joy that dogs bring that I really wish I could explain this in any way, and I apologize for fumbling on this, but it's just so difficult. Having a dog around, being able to interact with it, you know, I don't want to say just taking care of it, but really kind of partnering with it through life,
Mm,
which is what I feel that we all do. It's something that I haven't found something that can bring that level of joy.
yeah.
You know, that level of happiness, that
Mm,
level, I guess, of comfort as well.
yeah.
There. Oh, look, Millie's come to say hello. Can you want to say hi, Mills? Nope, you're not going to jump up. Okay.
He's like, not today, Dad. I'm really busy. I've got other stuff I've got to do. It's like in the morning. Hello. Do you know
Really?
there's a product that a product in England. Well, I'm going to say the UK, that is a breakfast product. It's a porridge and it's called Ready Breck. I don't know if they have it in the US, but the adverts a long time ago, like in the 80s, were of this child walking to school in their school uniform with this glow all around them because they'd had their Ready Breck. And
Ah,
when
that's
I think
funny.
about, I know, you just love this stuff. I mean, when I look at the advert now, I'm thinking, what was all that about? It's
Yeah.
so dated. But when people ask me, what is it like to have a dog when I've had a dog in the past? My best articulation is it's like having Ready Breck, because honestly, all the cells in my body, I can feel them kind of like twinkle and feel them buzz,
Yes.
because it's an indescribable thing. I think I've mentioned before in another podcast about there's a comedian called Ricky Gervais, and he doesn't have a
Yes.
dog, he has cats, but he talks about how he goes walking on Hampstead Heath. He lives in Hampstead in a part of North London. Just look at the dogs, because they're little characters, or they're doing something, or they're being funny, or they're not being funny, and they just look like their owners, or they don't. All this kind of wonderful stuff, the theatre of the dog. But for me, it's the ready break experience of the glow that comes, because I just want to go and talk to it, and I really wish that it could talk back, but it doesn't need to, because it's giving me the look, or it's going to wag its tail, or it's going to come over for a little stroke, whatever it is. So you can have that one for free. So Google Ready Break advert, and then you'll see what I mean.
It's a perfect way to describe it. I mean, their joy is infectious. It's hard when you see a dog smiling and wagging its tail. It's hard not to feel happy. It's hard not to smile and also just get absolutely ecstatic. I'm just as happy as you are, little one. And they all have their own little personalities. But Sandra, I'm going to call you out on this because you must have been shown this advertisement by someone else. I'm sure you didn't see it when it was on when it was airing in the 80s.
Oh, well done. No, I was definitely watching it, but thank you for that. That's like the second amount of charm. I can't cope with it. Right. Any final words, Mike? As I've gone red again, that's all brilliant.
Yes. Yeah, I one final word for everybody. Just listen to what your dog is trying to tell you. They are speaking to you. You just have to be willing to listen.
Yeah, that's brilliant. It's great to see you, Mike, even though you're in the woods and you're not in New York City. But hey, it's all good, because that's even better for the critters and the bears and the turkeys, random, and the deer and your wonderful dogs. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you soon. Bye.
You too. Thanks so much, Sandra. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.
So that's a wrap. Thank you so much for tuning in. If we've not connected already, you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm on there most days. You'll find me under CXEI Sandra. And also, if you want to find out a bit more about my work, then you can pop along to my website, www.eievolution.com. One final thing, and in the spirit of customer experience and feedback, I wonder if you might consider leaving a review on Spotify. I'll leave that one with you. So until the next time, be well and be pawsome. Ta-ra!